Hello, everyone. It's Thursday, June the 17th. We have 7 additional deaths to talk to you about and everything and to announce since last Tuesday. I know it's impossible to tell you that these numbers continue to be a whole heck of a lot better than they used to be. We're really happy about that, but at the same time, you know, for 7 great families and 7 great West Virginians and everything, it doesn't really seem to matter. So please keep all these folks in your prayers, and absolutely, if you happen to know them, please reach out. At this time, they absolutely don't want to feel alone, so please reach out and express your sympathies. The 2,857th death is an 85-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 2,858th death is a 66-year-old female from Raleigh County. The 2,859th death is a 77-year-old female from Tyler County. The 2,860th death is an 85-year-old male from Greenbrier County. The 2,861st death is a 71-year-old male from Greenbrier County. The 2,862nd death is a 56-year-old male from Barber County. And the 2,863rd death in West Virginia is a 68-year-old female from Raleigh County. This is a great number. We have now dropped below 100 new cases. We have 71 positive cases in the last 24 hours. Our daily positivity rate is at 1.39. That's amazing compared to where we've been. Our cumulative positive is at 5.08. Our active cases are 2,521. And our recovered cases are 157,998. We have 123 people hospitalized in West Virginia and 38 people in the ICU units. And we have no red counties, no orange counties. And please take a second to look at that map. You talk about an accomplishment that is unprecedented for what West Virginians have done to get ourselves that green and get back to that. That's an amazing, amazing feat. So you've done good, West Virginia. You've really done good. A reminder about the 65-year-olds and everything. If you're 65 and above especially, and you have any symptoms whatsoever, please take advantage of our free testing. And I would say that to all. If you're just anxious or feeling bad, headache, tiredness, anything, please go get tested. The antibodies are there. They'll save your life. If you were to happen to test positive and everything and not catch this early enough, you'll regret it beyond belief. But if you can catch it early enough, absolutely the antibodies will save your life. Now, before I go any further, we've got our state's birthday coming up. We've got Juneteenth coming up. We've got absolutely some really important days, but on our state's birthday, we're going to really have a great celebration. Some people are going to go away. One person's going to go away a millionaire, and we're going to do some things that are way out of the box and everything, but at the same time, it was all driven to try to get more and more and more people vaccinated. I said it before, but always a kind of cute face that cute in maybe beauty's in the eyes of the beholder, but someone that made us smile was Baby Dog. And so we got a special guest with us today, and CH, if you'll come up, and I'm gonna scoot this chair over here a little closer to me, and you're gonna have to come and grab this rascal. Okay, come on around here, Baby Dog. All right, we're going to have you sit right here, okay? You sit right there for a little while. All right, so Baby Dog is asking you again to go get vaccinated. Now, the drawing, from the standpoint of the June 20th drawing, that is cut off now. But beyond that, and I don't think she's going to last very long here. Sit down there, rascal. Just calm down. You're good. Okay, but beyond that, continue to register. We're going to have these drawings weekly. We're going to give away $1 million every week. We're going to give away the automobiles or the trucks and everything, the free scholarships and everything. So if you're not registered, continue to register. And absolutely, you'll be in the drawings for the next weeks, but we have 246,200 people that are in the drawing for June the 20th. So continue to register and everything, and we'll be hopeful that everybody walks away with something and everything. You know, like I said, we're going to be giving away hunting rifles, and we're going to give away, hunting shotguns and weekend getaways at our state parks and lifetime, hunting and fishing license, scholarships. We're going to give away trucks. We're going to give away a lot of neat stuff and everything. And it's all in an effort to get more and more of our folks vaccinated. If we can stop this dreaded killer, we will save so much money. It is unflat believable. I always go back to Nathan's saying, about save a life, change a life. It's important stuff. Really, really, really important stuff. And we started this little movement. The folks, I think, and it came to me from NBC, said, from the standpoint of using this little rascal's face and everything, and she just loves everybody. I mean, honest to Pete, this little dog loves everybody. It doesn't matter, I've never seen her do anything except go through that little wiggling and absolutely want to talk and lick or whatever everybody. Now she doesn't abound in a tremendous amount of energy, but she brings a smile to my face. She's brought a lot of smiles to a lot of faces, and so for all of you out there and everything, we want you to come on June the 20th, and we want you to register, and like I said, we'll have some real happy campers that'll win and everything. And so nevertheless, we'll have Baby Dog there on Sunday, and we hope to see you. But now, if I could go back, our vaccine eligibility, it starts with all those 12 and above. It is really important that if you have received a first shot of Pfizer or Moderna, that you follow up and get your second shots. From the standpoint of our savings bonds and gift cards, we're going to end that campaign on June the 20th. And so if you have not registered, after June 20th, we're going to end that campaign. It in itself, was semi-successful. We have 39,000 people that have received, that have registered since we have started this program and everything. And those people, we're sending out the gift certificates or the gift cards and or the savings bonds, and so we continue to urge you to register for this. Up until it'll end on Sunday, June the 20th. And what time are we going to cut that off? Are we going to cut it off midnight, or let's cut it off at 11:59 midnight, or 11:59 on June the 20th. So if you haven't registered, you're throwing away a chance for $100. If you've got your vaccine, you got to register to be able to get it. Okay, from a standpoint, I will go back to encouraging our parents, our grandparents, on those people that are aged 12 through 35. Please help us with the younger folks and everything to be able to get them vaccinated, because that is hugely important in this deal. We're at 61.5% now that have received at least one shot. That's great. We're at 77%. It's unbelievable. 77% of the people 50 and older have received one shot. We're at 85.4% of those 65 and older, another amazing statistic. It's really great. So our wisdom is telling young people, get vaccinated. That's what they're doing. 77% of those 50 and older, 85.4% of those 65 and older, they're screaming out, get vaccinated, to our young people. As far as our businesses and our churches, we'll come, we'll do the employees, we'll do your congregations. All you got to do is just reach out and try to help us to be able to get across the finish line and shut this killer down. Our vaccine info line is all up there. You see all that. We offer the free testing. We continue to do so. and take advantage of all this and everything. Take advantage to absolutely not lead to levels of sickness. You know, I again wanted to always thank Walgreens and Frith. They stepped up early, you know, and great work that they've done. But I'm telling you, this is in our hands. Our ability to shut this down, our ability to stop this and everything. Now, come on. All we got to do is push this across the finish line. You know how many times I've told you that the steepest part of the mountain is always at the very top. And if you want to get across the top of the mountain and everything, you got to be prepared to have a little bit more energy and a little bit more inside to push you across the top. So that's what we need to do right now. We have 3 outbreaks in our long-term care facilities, 4 outbreaks in our church community, 3 counties that they are, and that's Monroe, Nicholas, and Pendleton County. That's great work, great work, great work. You know, our long-term care facilities and, you know, and our churches have done really good, really good. But I tell you, our corrections folks, we have 1 inmate case in West Virginia and 7 staff cases. Man, what a job they've done, you know, and so just keep up the great work. I encourage you over and over about giving blood. It's so important in everything, especially if you've recovered from this dreaded killer. Please try to remember to go and at least consider giving blood. Now, you know, we've got something really special that's going to happen on June the 19th, Juneteenth. A day which celebrates the ending of slavery in the United States of America. The Herbert Henderson Office of Minority Affairs is holding a virtual Juneteenth celebration. On Saturday, the event will stream live on the Herbert Henderson Office of Minority Affairs Facebook page at 5 p.m. and air on West Virginia Public Broadcasting at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. Headlining the event, get this, Montel Jordan, the former R&B singer best known for This Is How We Do It. You know, he'll be headlining the whole thing, and he was an incredible singer and everything before, you know, he left that profession to become a pastor. I mean, how good is that? You know, the program will also feature other musicians, dancers, and poets from West Virginia. 2021 also marks the first time in West Virginia that the West Virginia legislature has recognized Juneteenth as an official state holiday. Great stuff, great stuff. Congratulations to our legislature, congratulations to all. And I encourage all West Virginians to tune in to the virtual celebration that's going to happen on Saturday, June the 19th. Now on Sunday, I've already said a little bit about this. It's Father's Day. It's our state's birthday on Sunday, June the 20th. And we're going to have an incredible celebration. There'll be a lot of it. It'll be somber, and then we'll probably bring in Baby Dog and give away a lot of wonderful gifts and everything. We're going to do it right out in the front of the Capitol right here and everything. And throughout the day, there'll be food available for purchase, and there'll be multiple food trucks and vendors. You know, our West Virginia themed Airstream designed by the State of Tourism will be on site. Of course, Baby Dog will be here, and I'm just seeing if I missed anything else in the notes, but I don't really think so. It will be the day that we end the mask. And so a big day on June 20th, so come, please come. You know, we'll have some fun, and we'll have a great celebration of our birthday first and foremost. You know, we will be doing a vaccine also on Sunday, you know, a vaccine clinic and everything, basically, that it'll be a Do It for Baby Dog clinic and everything. And so if we can pick up 3, if we can pick up 30, if we can pick up 300, you know, people that haven't been vaccinated, if you'll come on that Sunday, we'll get you vaccinated and everything. And for everyone we get, That's a potential life we save. That is absolutely important. So again, I'm asking you on Sunday to come. We'll have some fun. Baby dog will be there, and look at this little face. Now look at this little thing. You can't turn her down. She's asking you in every way, to just go get your shot and be vaccinated. Be vaccinated. She's asking you in every single way. Now, she's probably right now thinking about a cheeseburger, but nevertheless, she's asking you, please just go get vaccinated. And then after you're vaccinated, register for all these wonderful, exciting prizes that you could get. But please go get vaccinated for you, absolutely, for your family, and for this little thing. Absolutely, go get vaccinated. Okay, tomorrow, this is my last thing, and this is a biggie, and you got to really pay close attention. Tomorrow, I will call a special session of the West Virginia Legislature for next Thursday, June the 24th at noon. I am calling them back in to appropriate another $250 million in budget surplus money before the end of the fiscal year on June the 20th. And we will release the call and the list of items for funding tomorrow. But, we have done great in our state. We have a tremendous surplus, and we want to absolutely put that to good use, to absolutely benefiting us as we go forward. And our rainy day fund is at record levels and everything. And so we absolutely have the golden opportunity here to absolutely do some more goodness in West Virginia. So we're going to call the folks back in and try to get their blessing and try to move forward on a lot of wonderful projects. So with that being said, that's all I've got right now. Like I said, I really appreciate you taking the time to get your vaccine and come on down on the 20th. Celebrate Juneteenth. What an incredible, landmark for us and now in West Virginia to have this as a state holiday. It's long overdue. Offer lots of apologies for decades and decades and decades and everything, but I'm really proud that we're able to do it now. So nevertheless, let's think north. Let's think going forward. Let's absolutely think that way. Okay, that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Governor. Let's now go to Dr. Clay Marsh, our coronavirus czar.
Good morning, and to reinforce what the governor has already told us, that things in West Virginia right now from COVID-19 are looking very positive. Our cases are going down. We still see people dying, and that is something that we should never feel comfortable with. In the United States, we now are up to 600,000 deaths from COVID-19. But I want to also, importantly, just raise a voice of some caution and to make sure that we don't become compliant. There's two recent studies that have just come out that should give us some further insight and perhaps give us a bit of pause. So one article that came out has been looking at the long-term manifestations of people who have been infected with COVID-19. And this study was from February 2020 to December 2020 across a health system. And what they found was that if they look 30 days after someone was diagnosed with COVID-19, and this is before many of the variants had come to the US, they found that half the people who were hospitalized with COVID-19 still experienced some side effect 30 days after, and over 25% of people not hospitalized who were infected with COVID-19 had at least one long-term symptom of COVID-19 for 30 days after their illness. So we start to see this pattern that at least a number of people who are infected with COVID-19 very well may experience much longer term consequences. And these include people who are previously healthy and people who just have COVID-19 and don't get sick enough to go to the hospital. The other study is really, to me, much more concerning, and it's a study that came out of Scotland. And as we've talked about, we have constantly tried to look ahead for the pandemic, and the governor has done such a great job of leading these efforts, but to look around the corner and try to predict what's coming next. And as we have seen from India, which had the terrible outbreak from COVID-19 with so many people getting infected and dying, that because of the number of people infected, there is a new variant now that is becoming the most common variant in the world. And it came from India, and it's now referred to as the Delta variant. And this variant is now more infectious than any other variant that we've seen, and more able to evade our immune system than other variants that we've seen. In the United States, this variant now accounts for 10% of all the cases of COVID-19, and it is doubling about every 10 to 14 days. So the projection is in the next 2 to 3 weeks, it will be the most common variant of COVID-19 in the US. In West Virginia, as we've been a bit behind the rest of the country sometimes and the rest of the world, we have only 3 cases, and we identified the group that existed in and isolated them, and we haven't seen any more of that Delta variant, but we can almost be assured that over time we will, and most likely, like the United Kingdom variant came to us, the Delta variant will become the most common form of COVID-19, both in the US and eventually in West Virginia as well. A study from Scotland demonstrated that this variant was twice as likely to hospitalize people who become infected than the UK variant. And remember, the United Kingdom variant, which is now our most common variant in West Virginia, is about 40 to 60% more infectious than the initial form of COVID-19 that came from China and came to us through Washington, the state of Washington. This variant, the Delta variant, is another 40 or 50% more infectious than the UK variant. It is currently the most infectious form of COVID-19, and it also infects children more than the United Kingdom variant. And it in Scotland, it really attacked people that were more affluent, had more resources than the UK variant. So this is a variant that we know is more infectious, is more severe when it infects people, and it is a variant that's coming to the US and will soon become our most common variant. And that's really a concern because of the number of people still not vaccinated. In the United Kingdom, having only one vaccine was not sufficient to protect people from the Delta variant. They really needed both doses of the vaccine. I'm talking now about the messenger RNA vaccines, the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine. And with both doses, 14 days after, the vaccines are still very effective in reducing very serious side effects, hospitalizations from this variant at 96% effectiveness. And remember, for the UK variant, it's over 99% effectiveness. And as far as keeping people from getting infected, still very effective. It was 79% effective in keeping people from getting infected versus the UK variant at 92%. The vaccines were effective in keeping people from getting infected. So being fully vaccinated is still incredibly good protection against severe disease, hospitalizations, death, which is what we really care about. But the people not vaccinated or only vaccinated partially are people at significant risk. So I hope that all citizens in West Virginia will take that to heart and please choose to be vaccinated. And let's get everybody vaccinated with both vaccines and get that 14-day window where you're totally immune ready if you do get challenged with that particular variant, because that's the way we keep West Virginia healthy and keep moving in the direction that we are today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Marsh. Next, we'll go to Dr. Ayn Amjad, our State Health Officer.
Good morning. Speaking of vaccination, there was a long-term care facility in the state that had extremely low vaccination numbers among its staff and residents. And a individual did visit this facility that was also unvaccinated. And because of this, 79% of the patients and 60% of the staff did contract COVID-19. And this did result in 3 of the residents passing away. So this is a strong reminder that vaccinations are important. You still can get COVID-19 from vaccinations, but it does reduce your going to the hospital and dying from COVID-19. So this is just a strong reminder that we do want everyone to get vaccines in the state. But this information, we do want to put it out there because, we are still seeing some fatalities, and this long-term care facility is just a strong reminder of that. Thanks, Jordan.
All right, thank you, Dr. Amjad. We'll go back to the governor for just a moment.
I need to clean something up here and everything. I always do this with you. If we make a mistake or whatever, I always recognize the mistake and I don't take long to do it. But the notes and everything that I was given and everything, as far as Juneteenth, were basically telling me that it was an official holiday, and we'd checked that as best we possibly could and everything, or checked it earlier today. But it is not, it is not recognized as an official state holiday. Juneteenth, what the legislature did is Juneteenth recognized the importance of this great day. And what they did by resolution was officially, they recognized the day. But as far as it being an official state holiday, it's not that at this time and everything. So as far as people, writing in and everything, asking about their pay and everything on that day, we need to clean that up. It's not recognized as an official holiday, but it is recognized as the day by resolution by the legislature. I think it's incredible progress. As we go forward, let's be hopeful that at some point in time we will recognize it as an official state holiday. It is an incredibly important day, a landmark in this great country. So I wanted to clean that up and everything. That's a mistake on our end. And you know me, if we make a mistake, I try to come to you right then. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Governor. Retired Major General Jim Hoyer, the director of our Joint Interagency Task Force, and Secretary Bill Crouch with the DHHR are also joining us today and are available for questions. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first from Kenny Bass with WCHS and Fox 11.
Thank you very much. Always good to see Baby Dog. Makes the day better. I have a question for General Hoyer, who I should also say it's always nice to see as well as the rest of the panel. General Hoyer, how far along are we on the plans with the planned booster shots for the COVID vaccine that it will probably be rolling out at some point later this year or early next year? Are we set and good to go there, or are we waiting to see what further developments might come from the coronavirus, like this new Delta variant that could maybe switch things up for us as we move forward? Thank you.
General.
Well, yes, sir, Governor. Well, Kenny, I appreciate the fact that you hold both Baby Dog and I in such high regard. And I realize that I'm second behind Baby Dog. But so, Kenny, the CDC, FDA still haven't worked through what the booster will look like as far as the required potency and the things that would be needed there. So what we're doing is we are planning to be able to execute, doing all the logistics behind the scene that we need to be prepared, working with Dr. Marshall and Dr. Amjad on the medical components, and having the things in place that we would be ready to execute as soon as the government tells us what and when that booster will be like, to include, will it have to be like the Pfizer doses in the beginning in some kind of controlled temperature environment? So planning to be prepared to execute, just like during a flood, and then once we get the details, we'll move left or right based on that data. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kenny. Next, we'll go to Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young with W News. Governor, I was wondering a little bit about our first lottery drawing. If you could give us some more information about how will the winners be informed? What is the timeline for when they will actually receive the prizes, whether it's, a check or their truck? And what is the process that the state is going to go through to verify the information that people provided? How are we going to make sure that people were actually vaccinated when they registered? Thank you.
Okay, Charles, I wish, I wish there were folks that could, that were here that were handling this could answer this better than I. As far as their prizes, we'll get them out to them immediately. I know we've got that. From the standpoint of how we're going to do this, I think, and Jordan, can I go through, out that we're going to notify the people and everything. I think the drawing will take place, as far as the June 20th thing, or thing where we're having the announcement of the folks on June the 20th, on Sunday. What we're going to do there is just do this, is we're going to have the drawing done, notify all the people that have won something, and have them notified that they've won either, one of the prizes. That they've won the trucks, they've won the, the state park getaways, or the lifetime hunting license, or the hunting rifles or shotguns or whatever, the scholarships, and even the possibility that one of them has won $1 million. And so, and tell them that we would like them to come if they choose to do so. And so we're not going to tell them the prize that they won, but we're going to tell them that they have won, and they're, so those folks will be notified prior to June 20th, and I'm sorry. Now say what? All right, we're going to do. I mean, are we going to do that drawing? We're going to do that drawing for the June 20th prizes prior to June 20th, probably on sometime on the 19th, and then we're going to notify those folks. Is that correct, Jordan? I wish somebody that knows what we're doing could in regard to that could help me on that. But I'll go with it. Okay. What we're going to do, we're going to draw and notify those people that have won, and we're not going to tell them what they've won. And then we're going to, offer for them to come on June 20th, and then we're going to announce those winners on June 20th. And so Charles, that's how that part's going to work, only for June 20th, and then we will have dates as we go forward and everything, and we will draw on that specific date and announce, those winners as we draw. But that's how we're going to cover June the 20th, and from the standpoint of all the prizes and everything, we got all that, and they will get those immediately. But Charles, was there any other part of your question? Because I always really try as best I possibly can to answer every single thing that's asked me, but is there another part that I maybe missed?
Yes, sir. I was wondering about the verification process, just some way we're going to vet the information to make sure that unvaccinated folks didn't sign up for the lottery.
No, we're doing all that. I mean, we're absolutely doing every bit of that. We're cross-checking everything on that. So that would be, I guess anything could happen. A mistake could happen, but I don't think we're going to have that happen.
All right, thank you, Charles. Next, we'll go to Mark Curtis with Nexstar Media.
Good morning, Governor, cabinet members, fellow reporters. Governor, maybe this is a question that Bill Crouch can answer best. I received a question from Molly, one of our viewers, and she says, what is the status of the daycare assistance subsidy for essential workers? The last I heard, it was extended through June. I have called multiple DHHR offices, and it sounds like they're awaiting for guidance from the governor. Thank you. So is there a daycare assistance subsidy program for essential workers, and is it about to expire, or is it being extended? Please address.
Well, we're not waiting on me, Mark, and it is extended. I don't really need Secretary Crouch to answer that. I don't, Mark, I don't need Secretary Crouch to answer this one. It has been extended. They're not waiting on me. You know, I stepped up right off the get-go and everything and authorized that to be extended.
All right, thank you, Mark. Next, we'll go to Jasmine Aduse with WDTV.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Governor. Definitely happy to see baby dog. In the context of COVID, you know, with COVID cases decreasing, you know, we all saw the map. There's no orange counties. You know, because of the fact that we're seeing less and less cases, what do you say to those people who just still won't, you know, who won't get the vaccine, you know, because of the fact that we're not seeing as many cases anymore? Thank you.
I think maybe, you know, Dr. Marsh, why don't you try this, please? And then I'll follow up too.
Yeah, thank you, Governor, and thank you, Jasmine. You know, that's really part of the reason why at the beginning of this press brief, I tried to touch on what recent data is coming from places that are really struggling with this new variant of COVID-19, the Delta variant. And while I agree 100% that things are looking much better in West Virginia, and we're really grateful for that for all the right reasons. But as we have done the whole pandemic, we need to be cognizant of risks that are coming at us in the future and try to do our best job of predicting that. And when you start to look at this Delta variant, it is much more infectious than any variant that we have in our world right now. It created so much problems in India, even among healthy people who were previously exercising and young, you know, who got devastating illness from this. You know, up to 10,000 people a day were dying and 500,000 people a day were getting infected in India. And the UK, it's really also caused a big problem. And the article out of Scotland demonstrated that it was more likely to infect children than the UK variant, more likely to hospitalize people. And the vaccines are really, really good, but you need both doses of the vaccine. You need to be fully vaccinated and to be 14 days after the last vaccine. So our biggest hope is that people in West Virginia will pay attention to this, choose to be vaccinated, because we do have an opportunity. We have a window right now to be able to protect people. But once the Delta variant is here, it's going to cause a lot of problems, particularly in people unvaccinated or partially vaccinated. So our hope is that people will take heed of that and act quickly and decisively to protect themselves. But I think for some people, unfortunately, you know, they are going to be at risk when this variant comes because they have not chosen to be vaccinated or they're only partially vaccinated.
Give me just 1 second, Jordan. Jasmine, listen, the message has got to be just real simple. You know, if you choose not to be vaccinated, I mean, you're still exposed, and you're exposed in a big time degree. Now, just think about this just a second. If the variants are much more contagious, and they come, what's the likelihood of a really bad outcome for a lot of you that choose not to take the vaccine? The likelihood's big time. The other flip side of it is, with getting COVID, the likelihood that most of you will survive if you take that chance, the likelihood is good that most of you will survive. But the likelihood is also really good that a bunch of you that survive will end up with side effects for the rest of your life, whether it be heart issues or whatever it may be. Please, somebody tell me, how in the world can you take that risk? That's the thing that just blows me away. Every single person in the world is telling us how absolutely, almost risk-free taking the vaccine truly is. Everybody tells us how efficient and how good the vaccines are. And everybody in the world is telling us they're safe, they're safe, they're safe. And absolutely how you can take that risk, I just don't know. I just don't know how you can do it. You know, so the bottom line to me is, if you take the risk and this thing comes back and grabs you, it's not going to be good.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. Next to June Leffler with West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Hello, Governor and panel. Thank you for taking my call, my question. So, so we've been talking about the risks to people that are unvaccinated. I would like to talk more about, the chance risks that are still out there for people that are vaccinated. So DHHR has said that there's been, just over 600 breakthrough cases, and of those, more than 20 people have died. We know that's, breakthrough cases are expected. We know getting vaccinated still, greatly reduces your risk of getting infected and dying. But with the mask mandate going down, I would like to hear from the health professionals about if they expect breakthrough cases to be more prevalent, and what precautions should people that are vaccinated still take? I know I'm 31. I've really been enjoying being vaccinated and going without a mask. But I do think that there's probably still older folks that might want to prevent the risk that they are one of these very few people that do get infected and possibly die.
Doc, please go. Dr. Marshall, Dr. Amjad. Dr. Amjad, you haven't, so please, if you would go.
Yes, Governor. So, June, that's a question that Clay and I get, and Dr. Hoyer and gets a lot too. So, then to answer you kind of short and simple, this is how I live, and I think Clay said this on an earlier call as well. If you know the group that you're around, you're safe to go without your mask. Obviously outside, the CDC said you don't need to wear your mask, and it's outdoors, so the air quality is good. If you're going into indoors and the people that you're around are vaccinated, you're safe to not wear your mask. If you're going indoors into an area, of course, the mask mandate is going to be lifted, as the governor stated, and also the CDC is saying if you've been fully vaccinated, you're also safe to not wear your mask. But moving forward, as you said, and with the variants, and as Clay talked earlier with the Delta variant, we don't know what the future lies. Anyone who's in a large, very crowded area, say you're in New York City, you're under a subway, you're traveling also on airplanes, they're recommending to wear masks in large crowded spaces because you don't know who's been vaccinated or not. So me, myself, if I know a group, we go to work, we know your coworkers are vaccinated, you're in an indoor space, I'm not going to wear a mask. But if I was going to go into a large, crowded area and there's too many people close to me, even though I'm relatively healthy, I might consider wearing a mask. So, that's the kind of advice I give family members. That's the kind of advice I give myself or a patient. I'd give my 70-year-old plus mother. But, that's the kind of things we need to move forward. But it's kind of one of those things. We know the vaccine does protect us more than 95% of the time. But it's something that we're going to have to see as time goes. But you still need to get vaccinated. It does help us. It does keep people out of the hospital. It's proven to do that. And we just have to see how we go forward. But I don't know if Clay has anything to add more to that.
The only thing I would just say, and you said it very well, is that instead of just, counting and just waiting for some sort of government agency or state government to sort of tell you how to act, it's important that each person make that decision for themselves. So we know that the flu season really got, taken care of. We didn't have one because of mask and hand washing. So if you feel uncomfortable, wear a mask, stay physically distanced, no problem doing that. But I think that as Dr. Amjad said, being fully vaccinated really does give you so much protection. And we certainly recommend that everybody consider that choice.
All right, thank you, June. Next to Paul Mullen with WCBC.
Good morning, Governor. Good morning, panel. Governor, I notice that Baby Dog has a better chair than you, so there's something to be said there for sitting to the left of the governor. One of the objections, you might call it, that I hear from people not getting the vaccine is they say, we're going to have herd immunity, so I don't need the protection of the vaccine. I'd like to hear the argument from the medical panel as to why that is a bad conclusion. Thank you.
Well, Paul, let me just say this. You know, and I struggle with this all the time. I really do. You know, but Paul, if I thought there was a chance, there was just a chance. Now, there's a real likelihood, you know, as far as herd immunity or whatever it may be, that things are going to be better. But if there was a chance, and surely to God above, you know, if you had the governor of the state of West Virginia that came on every other day and read, you know, 5 to 15 or whatever deaths across our state, there's a real chance. And if there's a real chance, how in the world can you process, I mean, really the whole thing and come up with, well, I think there's going to be herd immunity or whatever it may be, so I'm going to have a less chance of getting it, but I'm still going to have a chance, a real chance. You know, please, Dr. Marsh or Dr. Amjad, you know, from our health community and everything, add to that, but I just don't see how you take a chance.
Maybe I'll take the first shot at it and then pass it to you. Thanks for the question, Paul. You know, given the viral variants and given the number of unvaccinated Americans and West Virginians, there's no real world likelihood that we'll ever see herd immunity. We know that people's immune function are not all even. Some are waning while other people's is still remaining. We identify people, say, on immunosuppressive medication who may not respond as vigorously to the vaccines and may lose their immunity faster, people that are elders, people with other chronic medical conditions. And with the new variants, we would probably need 85–90% of the population immune before we would get to what you could call herd immunity. So I think that the key is we have the solution, as the governor said, as Dr. Amjad said, as we've all said. These vaccines are incredibly effective, incredibly safe, and much of the world is so anxious to get access to the vaccines that we have sitting on the shelf, not being used for the people who we love and care about, and who should be worried about their life, their health, their futures, and for the people they love, because they can pass it on to others. So ultimately, herd immunity is not a real thing. It's a concept, which is one that gives us a reference point, a frame. But ultimately, the only way that we can protect people is to have people get fully vaccinated and continue to keep up with that as these variants, progress, and as we may have boosters available. You might add anything to that?
Just one little tidbit that, herd immunity it's an old school word that people used, like when I was in medical school, which is really a long time ago, that put a number to something, and that now with the way the world is, we travel too much and we don't live in a little bubble anymore, and that we don't need to put a number to anything, and that we need to think more globally and community oriented, and that people need to get vaccinated, that it just doesn't work that way anymore. It's too fluid. COVID is fluid, and we need to move with the times, and that it's an old school term that needs to change. So that's all I'll add to that. So thanks.
Great. Thank you, Paul. Next, we'll go to Rebecca Augustoni with WTRF.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Governor. My question for you today, Governor, is actually a follow-up from my question on Tuesday. Did you get a chance to talk to West Virginia Secretary of Transportation Byrd White about the Route 2 road construction project in Sistersville, Wetzel County? Can we give the Sistersville mayor and residents any new information today?
Rebecca, you know, I think that issue is now with the CSX, and the Department of Highways is all over this, and I'll promise you that we've had multiple conversations and everything, but I think we're getting around to getting this situation taken care of and getting done.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. Next, we'll go to Phil Kabler with the Charleston Gazette-Mail.
Hello, everyone. Governor, I wanted to ask you about your appointments of GOP operative Greg Thomas and, U.S. Chamber of Commerce lobbyist Danielle Waltz to the Educational Broadcasting Authority. Given that you're in a position at this point to replace all 7 appointed members of the EBA, there's some concern that you may be attempting to undermine public broadcasting from within. If you could comment.
Well, Phil, I don't know that it will do me any good to comment, because I don't know that you'll print what I have to say, but I do believe there ought to be diversity to that board, and I absolutely am a strong supporter of public broadcasting. I always have. You know, I've stood rock solid there all along, and I do not think that the board should be weighed one side or the other. And I don't think, from the standpoint of the board being more liberal, that, changing the board to balance and everything, I don't think that the more liberal folks have total ownership of the board. I don't think more conservative folks should have total ownership of the board in any way, but I think it should be balanced.
All right, thanks, Phil. Governor, I'll turn it back to you to close out.
Well, the biggest thing, I think that we all are continued to be faced with is we are still dealing with the pandemic. We absolutely know that it can pivot and it can turn on us. We know these variants are out there and everything. We also know the sun's shining, don't we? And we also know that people are moving around, and we've got all these green counties and everything looks good. And we should be very proud of that, very, very proud of that. But please, West Virginia, please don't drop your guard. Please, West Virginia, at least be a little concerned. You don't have to be scared, but absolutely, I'll never cry wolf, unless there's truly, in my opinion, a wolf. But now, with all that being said, West Virginia, quit just coming up with all these concepts, that could lead you astray. I've said it making fun, that you're not going to grow antlers if you get the vaccine. You absolutely have a real chance of dying if you're 65 years of age and older and you were to get COVID. Absolutely, there are real risks that are out there. Now, I was on a call this morning about more promise and more opportunity that could possibly come to the Morgantown and in the area and come soon. Of course, I make my pitch like I do every single time, to try to some way find a fit and a resolution for Milan. And I'm not going to quit until it's over, but I'm going to keep pitching as hard as I possibly can. But in that whole thing, you know what the whole subject centered around? The subject centered around just this, that through this pandemic, West Virginia shined and shined like crazy. An absolute pandemic that none of us, nobody, had ever seen and lived through, nobody. And so there's no playbook. Absolutely, West Virginia shined with no playbook, with all those things that were absent to us in any way. And what the whole subject matter was about was even using that as a way to drive more and more people to our state and more innovation to our state. And absolutely, this is real, and there's more possibilities that are on the way. And you know how they're driven? They're driven because we in West Virginia led the way. We in West Virginia became absolutely the spotlight of the world being on us. Now, with that being said, and I go back to just this, what in the world are we continuing to have folks that absolutely believe in all these concepts, herd immunity, you know, that something bad is going to happen to you if you get the vaccine? Why in the world can't we just listen now to reason? We led the way. We led the way. And absolutely, we need you now. We really need you now. And so help us with the young people. Help us with the 12 to 35-year-olds. Absolutely, but at the same time, you know, if you haven't been vaccinated, you could be the next person that was just like the guy that worked for our farming operation. And he looked right at me, you know, and said, just the misery, the worry, the scare that he went through, and he still feels really tough, really, really tough. He said, I was one of those. I was one of those. I've heard this story so many times, so many times. I was one of those that said, no, I'm not getting the shot. I'm not doing that. My wife the same way. Well, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I was one of those. When I laid in the intensive care unit, I prayed over and over and over that some way I'd get through this and be able to spend time going forward with my grandkids. Kids that I wanted so much, and I hope and prayed so much to be able to have at some point in time. Now I have them. And look, I'm about to just fade away right here. You know, now with all that being said, I'd say to you just this: don't be him. Don't be him. Don't be laying somewhere, gasping for breath, wondering, why didn't I get the vaccine? Don't be sitting somewhere with one of your loved ones gasping for breath and say, I'm the one that caused it. I mean, and hoping and praying on herd immunity, or hoping and praying that maybe I was the one that didn't take the shot, so I'm the one that's going to be okay. Think about the millions and millions, half of our nation's population, half of the entire population of the United States has had this vaccine. If it were dangerous to people, if people were dying, do you not think that it would be the number one thing on the national news over and over and over? You don't hear it. You don't hear it. And you know why you don't hear it? Because it's safe. And absolutely, you could be one of these. You could be one of these that would make the roll call. You could do it. You could be one of 2,863. And absolutely, you're just signing up for the drawing. Because for those of you that have not been vaccinated, you're signing up. You're signing up whether you like it or not like it for the drawing, because there'll be more die. And absolutely, unequivocally, those that are dying are not vaccinated. It's just that simple. You're signing up, you know, is your number going to be drawn or is it not? You know, we're going to draw to somebody's going to become a millionaire, you know, on Sunday. Somebody's going to become a millionaire in West Virginia on Sunday. You're signing up for a drawing that says, I'm in the drawing to see who's going to make the list. Who's going to make the list that Justice is going to read their names? You know, that's the drawing you're signing up for. I think it's a big mistake. Anyway, thank you so much.